Here are 3 reasons why Kevin Samuels triggers black women starting right now. Hi, my name is Amanda, and I am here today to talk about the infamous Kevin Samuels. Some love him, some hate him, and there are some of us like me who just don't know where to place him on our love-hate spectrum. I think he offers a lot of valuable insight, and I think he offers a lot of bull. In this video, we're going to analyze 3 ways in which Kevin Samuels particularly triggers black women. And before we jump into this video, I just want to say, regardless of my opinions versus his opinions, I have so much respect for Kevin Samuels for being a black creator, a black YouTuber who has completely transformed this platform and just created a path for themselves and been very successful in doing so. Despite a ton of cringy moments in Kevin Samuels' live streams and videos, I think one takeaway that can be very triggering, but to me personally is very, very important and is really a gem, is that Kevin Samuels is not afraid to say that many of us, particularly black women, or I should say including black women, struggle with taking accountability and maintaining accountability for our actions and our mindset. However, that doesn't mean that it's applicable to all areas of your life and all areas of your personhood. You can struggle with taking accountability and sustaining accountability for your mental health, your physical health, and you can be incredible at taking accountability for your children, for their well-being, and as an employee at your job. And also, struggling with accountability is not an indictment of your character. It's just a struggle, which we all have, and really struggles and just kind of like the chinks in our armor are opportunities for growth. Jim and Kevin Samuels essentially putting us on blast is that once we get past the anger and the resentment, we can begin taking the actionable steps that are necessary to manifest the changes that we want to see in our lives. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, I would love it if you considered hitting that subscribe button, and if you're interested in commentary like this, there is more to come. But, or maybe I should say, and my personal gripe with Kevin Samuels and the way that he delivers his messages, and honestly a lot of his messages, is that it's just so oriented to one male perspective, and that perspective is set as the standard that all of us have to tailor ourselves and our lives to if we want to be successful in relationships. Otherwise, we'll just end up dying alone. Literally not kidding, he has a handful of videos discussing how modern women are ending up alone, are dying alone. And to me, the problem with this antiquated way of thinking is that it prioritizes and idolizes relationships that our parents were in and that their parents were in, and it completely ignores the issues that were present in relationships that our parents and grandparents were in. Another thing that it overlooks are the many amazing high-value men and women who have died alone and who will die alone. And it also forgets to mention the, I guess, low-value men and women who have died with a room full of people who loved and valued them immensely, regardless of whether they actually deserved it or not. And I really think it's important, and I want to re-emphasize the societal context and societal needs. I believe that our best bet for analyzing relationships and recalibrating ourselves to have successful relationships is to actually take into account the societal and environmental needs of our time. For instance, the cost of living has been far steeper in the modern world than it has been in previous generations, and therefore, in my opinion, it seems really unfair to rely on one individual to take care financially of a couple or of a family at that. Another thing to take into account when it comes to societal needs is when you look back in the past, girls were married off at the moment that they hit puberty, and that was okay back then, despite how disgusting it is, because it fit, it suited, it addressed the societal needs. Back then, lifespans weren't as long, and kids did not just hang around the house playing video games. They were contributing members of the family, and they helped to provide for their family. By the way, I just had to include this. Someone on YouTube called Kevin Samuels a used dust salesman, and girl, I hope from the bottom of my soul that YouTube gives you a raise for that title, because that literally made me spit out my coffee and holler. I mean, literally, I am not exaggerating. And lastly, a reason that Kevin Samuels is so triggering for Black women, but honestly for so many people, is because of the polarization that is characteristic of our current zeitgeist. So I think it's false, or maybe a better word is incomplete, to just oversimplify this narrative that men and women have just lost the ability to communicate and to connect. And I also think that it is inaccurate to blame that solely on social media. If anything, social media just amplified and demonstrated on a massive platform ideas that were already present and just did not have a sounding board. Because truthfully, if past ways of existing and of behaving were enough, then there would never have been any change. For example, if bicycles and horses and carriages and just walking on foot, if that was enough, then we would have never gotten the Model T. And if the Model T was enough, we never would have seen the Range Rover or the Mercedes. The problem is not in the modern world that people have just completely lost the ability to connect with one another, to communicate with one another. The problem is that we have stopped prioritizing those abilities. And one thing that Kevin Samuels said that I wholeheartedly agree with is that in modern day relationships, both men and women are coming into it looking to fulfill their needs and pretty much ignoring or disregarding the needs of their partner and the societal needs beyond their relationship. And this desire to solely focus on and fulfill your self-interest is kind of a nationwide phenomena that we see happening in this modern world that we're living in. And why should we sit down and listen to someone who completely disagrees with our opinions, like Kevin Samuels, for instance? Because what are we ultimately going to get? Like, what do we get from listening to someone who disagrees with us? Probably nothing at all. So there's no point then in listening. And that's the mindset, subconsciously or not, people are taking into their interactions with one another. And that's why we see so much dissension in today's time between men and women. Alright, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I am on the road to 100 subscribers, and I would love to have you join my community. Until next time, stay safe, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye!